Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? This right here is the Volvo S60 Recharge Black Edition. And I'm gonna show you guys how this thing is basically a sleeper. Yeah guys, so Volvo basically built the sleeper and didn't put a Polestar badge, or I mean the Recharge alone is really this, but the Black Edition I think really adds to it. This one is painted in white, but you can get it in all black, and we'll talk about what the Black Edition adds to this specific model as far as exterior styling goes and whatnot. So let's get into it. Starting with the front, the Black Edition really starts with the front emblem. You can see myself in it because you really don't see much definition because everything on it's blacked out. Looks like just one big black blob with an arrow pointing on one side. But yeah, the whole grill is blacked out. I like the pattern of it. And then the lower grills are blacked out. The side vents, which are functional, this side as well as actually no, not on this side. This one's not blacked out. And I think actually if I look closely here, you'll see I think that's actually either the horn in it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing here. Anyway, you get the Thor's hammer headlights, nice sleek, kind of juts into the front bumper there. And then this one again is painted in white, but the overall design of the S60 is very classy. You get nice clean hood lines, these nice, like not really a fender flare, but what would have been kind of like a little fender detail. It's just like kind of etched in there. And then again, blacked out wheels. These ones measure 235/40 and they're 19-inch wheels. So pearly tires from the factory, right? Going on the side here, get the blacked out mirror caps, the blacked out just trim surrounding it. This one does have an extended kind of glass roof. It's not a full panoramic glass roof. It is larger because there's this back panel, and this one opens up and it goes pretty far back. But they really could have blacked out the entire roof. I would have liked to seen that on the Black Edition. I don't think it would have been a significant change to their production process. But yeah, I would have liked to see that. You do get keyless entry, you know, thumb here to lock, put underneath and open it. Well, there you go, wait for it to do it. And then open it to unlock, so that's nice. You get your fuel cap here. The reason I'm pointing it out, even though it seems obvious, is there's another fuel door because of this Recharge, which we'll talk about. Going around the back, I honestly think the more I look at this rear, I feel like it's aged very well. These are like refreshed headlights. Yeah, they weren't on the S60s from the get-go. And then you get the T8 all-wheel drive Recharge, blacked out, and the blacked out Volvo lettering, the blacked out S60 lettering, and this black trim around the back. There is no exhaust tips. Volvo's moving away from exhaust tips. They want to get rid of like anything related to emissions or gas and dirty stuff. I don't know. That's just their thing. That's the direction they're going with, you know, electrification. And given how electrified this is, I get it. So let's talk about the other port. This is a plug-in hybrid. We'll talk about numbers in a little bit, but this is a plug-in hybrid. That's your charge port. Let's open the trunk real quick and show you that before we get what's under the hood. So there's a decent amount of space on my stuff here. Let's use that. There's a charging cable. I was playing around with that. It does have this really nice like Velcro strap. It's like Volvo, so you can you know, unwrap it, take care of your cable management, and then tie it back up in a nice configuration if you'd like. There is no full-size spare under here. It's just stuff. I'm not gonna, oh shoot, I kind of messed that up, but yeah, it's a decent room. There's a pass-through, and these seats do fold down 60/40. So let's close this right here. Let's open up the hood and talk about powertrain, because this is why this is a sleeper. You wouldn't assume this thing's gonna be packing as much power and performance as this thing does. I really miss the days where you can easily like look at the Volvo logo, trace this line up, and go and find the latch, but they moved it. They stopped doing that, unfortunately. It's a nice little Easter egg, but that's no longer the case. So the powertrain combines a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder and an electric motor that powers the rear axle, and combined makes 455 horsepower, 513 pound-feet of torque. To put that into perspective, guys, the M3, the G80 BMW M3 makes 473 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. If you go up to the competition, you get 503 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. So yes, more horsepower on the comp, but both configurations provide less torque, and that's because it doesn't have an electric motor. But you get the same 0 to 60 time as the G80 M3. Not the comp, you get 4.1 seconds 0 to 60 from this powertrain. And that is impressive. That will unexpectedly, you know, rip if you ever pull up something next to the highway and it's really trying to egg you on. You got some pulling power in this, some respectable pulling power. It's not the Polestar, so you don't get the track focus bits for like suspension and braking and stuff like that. But because it's a Volvo and this is the Recharge, it has the basically the most power you're gonna get. So this, I think, is supposed to compete more with like an M340i, but it makes way more power. It makes M3 power in my opinion. This hood, no one really talks about the engine. Sorry, engine cover that's under the hood. No one talks about it, but it is foam. There are reasons they did it. Noise insulation is one of them, but one of the biggest reasons was actually pedestrian safety. So this hood, which goes really far up, by the way, should note how kind of expansive that is. The opening. When someone gets, let's say, hit unfortunately by the car, you know, go pow, pow, they go into the hood. That hood's gonna bend inwards, right? Because body weight forces, you know, physics, right? And it's gonna end up hitting the next thing, which is the engine cover. And if it was a plastic engine cover, that's underneath that is pretty much your engine block, right? Your head and whatnot. That's harsh. This foam will absorb some of that impact, some of that shock, and dissipate it. And they did tests which prove that that actually makes a significant difference. So if you are, you know, gonna get hit by a car, if you're gonna hit someone, just know that they have a higher chance of actually surviving. So that's good. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So yeah, that's a powertrain. We'll get inside and talk about how much control you have over the system. That's the other impressive part. Let's hop inside here and talk about the controls and all the features you get. So starting with the doors, once you open it up, you see the Bowers and Wilkins mesh machine kind of metal grill right there. You have your memory seats, unlock and lock, which took me a while to find, even though it's right there. In hindsight, I feel kind of dumb. Your switch gear here, your child lock, door handle. There's a fabric material, soft touch. And then this, unfortunately, I couldn't fit a nice big water bottle in there, which I feel like Volvo really needs to up their game, at least in this vehicle. They have been doing it in other stuff, but I feel like it's missed the mark here. Going on to the seats, these are more performance-oriented seats, but a lot of the Volvo seats are like chiropractor endorsed and stuff. The nice thin headrest. It is a comfortable seat. You get the thigh extensions, your bolsters. There's a fabric here, and then there's a kind of a leather-like material. But let's just hop inside here. Oh, you do get recharge on the door sill, which is nice. Let me close this, close the door, and back it up. So what we're gonna do to turn this thing on is we're gonna go here, you twist it, and it's on, right? This steering wheel is manually tilting and telescoping. Just click OK so I can ignore that. And this has Volvo's latest software, which is Google built in, right? So it's developed in partnership with Google. So that right there is Google Maps, which, man, I love it. This here is based on Google's kind of software. But it does have Apple CarPlay. That was actually an over-the-air update that this car received. So even though you have an iPhone, which I do, you can hook up your phone to Apple CarPlay and get that in this interface. But because it is based on Google, you get Google Maps built in. So just tap on this. And again, like most Volvo screens, these work well with gloves because it gets really cold where these cars are, you know, engineered and stuff. So they account for that stuff. But I want to just point out how responsive this is. It is very zoom out, zoom in, very responsive. I like it. Okay, a little bit of lag there, not gonna lie, but it is really responsive for Google Maps being built into the vehicle. It is an older system. This, I mean, as far as like this setup has been in, you know, Volvo S60s for a long time, but I like a Google Map integration. It's the only reason I think I wouldn't need to connect my phone to my car. So I can just search a direction here. Yeah, so that's enough there. Home button, you have, it tells you, you know, particles per million, air quality and stuff like that. Outside pollen, it's pretty insane, the level of detail they go into for this stuff. You do get apps built in because it's based on Android. You can download Spotify and other stuff through the Google Play Store. But let's go into settings because this is the big thing. The car is on. It's now technically in electric driving. The engine isn't on. You guys can't hear it. But you get driving settings here. So you have your drive modes. So the way to get to the drive modes is via this, which is a little cumbersome. But you have hybrid, power, which is more performance, pure, which is all electric, and constant all-wheel drive, which will use the combination of the engine up front, powering the front wheels, and the electric motor in the rear, powering the rear wheels to constantly give you all-wheel drive, obviously, right? Battery usage, you can have it automatic, which it'll determine when it sees fit based on battery condition, driving conditions, and it'll determine whether you can just use the electric motor. You can hold the charge, which means it'll prioritize the front engine operation and keep that running. And if you are using a very little amount of battery, it'll still use it, but it'll be very under very light load circumstances, so it doesn't significantly impact the charge. So it'll basically use as much charge as it thinks it'll regenerate during normal driving situations. Charge, which wait a second, I'll press it, turns on the engine, and it will convert gas to electric charge. And just from kind of my, so zoom in here, from my experience, this car's estimated range, I haven't driven it too much, was 550 gasoline miles of range. That's what it said when I first turned on and filled up the tank. And now it says 410. I've done some light driving, I'd say around combined 10 miles, nothing crazy, but I've turned on charge the entire time because the battery was at 0 and I wanted to experience the charge and the pure electric driving off of just the battery. So I had to charge it up. And the range went down to 410. And I don't think charging the battery from the engine is the most efficient situation. Plug it in, or your daily driving will recuperate some of that lost energy. But if you really want to, it'll let you do that. And I like that because it basically gives people flexibility depending on what they see fit. I don't know if people can figure out a greater strategy what's on the automatic, because engineers have fine-tuned that. But that option's there, which is nice. It makes you feel like you really are, you really have ownership over the driving experience. You have other, pilot assist, safety assistance, driving dynamics. You can have creep on and then change your steering feel if you want to be a little more firm. I've had it on. I haven't had any issues with it. Here's your volume knob. You get the crystal gear selector, which is nice and cool to the touch. And then, it's how you operate it. You go forward for reverse, 1 neutral, 2 back for drive, then another 1 back for braking, or which is like a Prius, it's more brake regen heavy. You can go left and right when you're in that mode for gear shift, I guess, because there's no paddles. That's how you shift gears left and right. Kind of in my opinion, but it's how they do it. Like I said, that's how you start stop. Auto start stop is enabled, disabled, park brake. You have your cup holders here, no wireless charger here. And then in here, there's no wireless charger, but you get 2 USB-C ports. And the reason this is disappointingly shallow is because under here, going all the way down to the back, is your battery pack. So they really couldn't fit much in pretty much this thickness right here for storage because the battery sits here. And it's kind of the price you pay as far as having 41 miles of pure electric EP estimated driving range from this car. So 41 miles is significant. Most people's commutes can be done just by a plug-in hybrid, and you can literally just charge this at home and drive on electric and then use the engine for longer drives, or when you just forget to charge. It's a good system, and the power is sufficient that you can drive on pure electric, which is nice. It's not like a tiny motor. I believe it's mid 100 horsepower rear motor in the back, and then a big battery in the center. So yeah, that is as far as fit and finish. You get this nice trim on the side, this faux leather stitched dash. And then if you don't want the maps in the middle, you can just, I think, press this button here. It goes into a nice, simple, clean layout. To explain some things real quick, if there's a water drop there, that means gas is being used. If I go into pure, which I'll do right now, I'm going to go into the drive settings for you real quick. Pure, it's going to show that water droplets moved all the way to the top. So it'll basically be on pure electricity, which is how I'm driving, right? If I give it some gas, it'll just go up a little bit. I don't know if you really saw that. And it won't engage unless I really demanded a lot of power, even in pure. So let's go back into charge, because I want to charge this thing up and get, I got a mile of range. So I've lost expected 10 miles from it just idling, right? Technically it'd be best to have this thing actually driving while you run it. And then yes, it went back down to 0. So I have barely 1 mile of range of pure electric driving currently. But it's cool. You have 2 different kind of gauges right there, and it's based on mileage, not based on percentages. Going up top here, you do get your visor. It does a little vanity mirror and a little clip here for some paperwork if you need that. This large sunroof I showed you guys, you open it by just swiping here, and it opens. I like that there's an additional back section. Makes the experience a lot better. And then I can close this by swiping it closed. Let me try that again. There you go. And I think it also helps people in the back kind of enjoy that. If it went full panoramic, that would have been nice, but it isn't. And you swipe it again, and it closes it, but we want to keep it open for lighting. So we're gonna open that up. Once you go into reverse, what does pop up is a 360, which you can tap on here, and your 360 camera. You can tap on different specific views if you want a more focused view, out back, up front, and it uses those cameras. You can't like pan around like some other cars and have a 360 kind of animation. You can turn rear auto brake on or off. If it does sense it's getting really too close to something, it'll prevent you from hitting it. So for people who like to cut things close, this will intervene. So let's go back. And that's pretty much the infotainment tech system we just talked about. I covered everything there. Let's hop into the rear seats and show you what you guys get in the back. So open up the back door, pretty similar setup in the back. They didn't really significantly skimp on the materials, which I can appreciate. You get a lock button here, which is actually nice. And then sit back here. You get a little pocket that's a net, nothing like a actual like flap that's like a fabric. I put my bottle here because there was no good spot. I mean, I could have put it in the front, but I felt more comfortable here. Slide out cup holder, folds in there. And then we can fold that back out, slide if you want. These two seats are heated. This is not a 12 volt. It's actually two USB-C ports. This car just has USB-Cs. And again, there's no drive shaft. This is where the battery, so it kind of goes down. They try to accommodate for, rear passengers a little bit. They put this nice little rugged material, which is nice, but it does hinder on, center row passengers or center passengers sit in the middle. But for me, I get solid room. This is the experience out back with the windshield. If you're not looking directly up, you're enjoying it. And you get a nice little hump, which is good headroom for people in the back. And you get a nice little pass through here, which you open from the back side, I believe, too, if you want to put skis, if that's what you're looking for, right? These seats do fold flat, so I will show you guys this right now. We'll just pop that in there. And then take this. There should be a flap right there. You see that? And then you just press the button. I'm gonna press it real quick because I can't do it blind. And it folds it down and you press the other one. You could do it both on this side, which is nice, but you cannot do it on the other side. It's not there. Just keep that in mind. That's something that matters to you. It's nice that it would have been nice if they were both on both sides, but I guess that's excessive. Just you'll learn that your car has it on this side. You'll just get used to that. So let's do a quick drive around and talk about the driving experience. All right. I realized I was talking to myself after I adjusted the camera because it had automatically turned off. When I pressed the power button, automatically I accidentally turned it off. Things I talked about, I'm just gonna reiterate real quick so I don't waste your time, is power mode will change your gauge cluster into a traditional tachometer. I'll just show you guys since I'm not driving right now. So you get that. And again, in like hybrid mode, turns into a power meter. And then that threshold right there, like I said, is when engine will kick on, kind of like a Prius. Yeah, and this thing is fast. I had it in power mode, and having the engine and the motor working in parallel gets you up to speed pretty quick. So if you guys are concerned about power, this definitely has it. I mean, it's 0 to 60 times as an M3. Not taking turns, not talking about, if you don't prioritize handling, this is a solid system. You want that power, you want that performance, but you also want the plug-in hybrid versatility. This is a solid offering. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about this vehicle, drop them in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.